Okay, hi everybody, it's Mrs. Golson. The technology struggle is really real over at this end. I have this little cheap $10 tripod that I bought from Target. So before I can even make the videos, it takes me forever to set up the little $10 tripod. So maybe we will get an update in technology at some point. But okay, today is Wednesday. It is November 16th. And we are going to talk about computing unit rates today. This is something that we need to know how to do, and we didn't do so well on the ANET. So we are going to go through this one by one. We've got 6 sample problems that we're going to work out together. And if you get all 6 of them right, give yourself a huge pat on the back because you are doing really well and awesome at this. Okay, so we are computing unit rates. Okay, so let's review what a unit rate is. A unit rate is a ratio that tells you the rate for 1 unit of a given quantity. So when we are looking for unit rates, we are looking for how many things belong to one of another thing. For instance, 7 days in 1 week, 365 days in 1 year, 4 tires on 1 car. So I've got a ratio and I've got 2 things I'm comparing, but one of the things that I'm comparing has just 1 thing that belongs to it. Okay, so this is how we're going to do these problems today. We are going to, step 1, read and understand the context of the problem. And you guys have been struggling with this word here, context. What that means is what the problem is talking about. So if I'm talking about like one of the problems we did yesterday with the frozen yogurt shop with the toppings and the cost, the context, you got to put yourself in that situation. You're in a frozen yogurt shop and the things that you're dealing with is toppings and cost. Okay, so step 2, we're going to set up a ratio table. I know these are your favorite things. And we're going to include 1 today since we are finding the unit rate. And then step 3, we're going to find the scale factor used to multiply from one side of the table to the other. Okay, so I'm going to always come back to these 3 questions here. So I'm going to put these to the side so we can see them. So I'm going to ask, what are the 2 units that we're comparing? How are we going to set up the table? What unit are we going to place the 1 by since we're finding unit rate? This is your unit rate 1. This 1 belongs to unit rate. And then we're going to find that scale factor that we're going to multiply by to get from one side of the table to the other. So I'm going to put this to the side. I'm going to constantly be bringing that back and forth. Okay, so here's example number 1. We're going to start off easy. And it's going to get progressively difficult. Okay, so for your summer job, you mowed 5 yards for $35. How much money did you make per yard? First question, what are the 2 units that we're comparing in this problem? What are the 2 units that we're comparing? I'll pause so we can answer that question together. Okay, so if you said yards and money, you are absolutely correct. So our 2 units that we're comparing, yards and money. How are we going to set up the table? What unit are we placing the 1 by? So we're going to pause and let somebody come up and set this table up. Okay, so if you participated and you set the table up like that, you got 5 yards and $35. This dollar sign tells me that I'm dealing with money. So where are we going to put the 1 by? The question says for your summer job, you mowed 5 yards for $35. How much money did you make per yard? Hopefully we put that 1 by yards. Ooh, grammar mistake. 1 yard. Okay, so now find that scale factor. So we are asking ourselves, what is happening to this 5 to get to this 1? I am going to give this to you in a division sense since you are used to seeing it that way, but we're going to start thinking about multiplicative sense. So I know that to get from 5 to 1, I can divide by 5. And whatever I do to this top, I'm going to do the same thing here. Let's divide by 5. And 35 divided by 5, of course, that gives us 7. So we are making $7 per yard. I could have also, and this is starting that 7th grade thinking, I could have also said, hey, 5 times, if I flip that 5 and use the multiplicative inverse, 5 times 1/5, I can say, hey, 5, put that 5 over 1. 5 times 1 equals 5. 1 times 5 equals 5. 5 over 5 equals 1. So remember, dividing by 5 is the same thing as multiplying by 1/5. This information is going to be useful when we are working with the fractions a little bit later. Okay, so our unit rate and our answer, $7 per yard. Boom, that's our answer. Okay, let's look at question number 2. Question number 2. All right. In the big snowstorm, 7 inches of snow fell in 6 hours. How many inches of snow fell per hour? Okay, 3 questions again. First one, what are the 2 units being compared? Pause, think about it. If you said 6 or inches of snow and hours for the units, you are correct. So inches of snow and hours. So question number 2, how are we going to set up the table? What unit are we placing the 1 by for the unit rate? Okay, so let's pause and let's have somebody set this up. Okay, so if you set it up like this, you are absolutely right. So 7 inches of snow in 6 hours. And we got to think about where we're putting that 1 by. It says how many inches of snow fell per hour. Okay, so my 1 is going to go by hour. So it's the 1 hour. Okay, so now we are looking for the number of inches. So I'm going to put a little question mark right there for now. I'm looking for the number of inches that fell in 1 hour. So I got to look at the 2 things that I got here. I got hours at the bottom, hour at the bottom. So I'm going to say, what can I do to 6 to get to 1? I'm going to use the division, but then we're going to go back to that multiplicative thinking. So here, I'm going to say, what happens to 6 to get to 1? We can divide by 6. But remember, we can also multiply by what? We can also multiply by 1/6. Because remember, 6 over 1 times 1/6, that's 6 over 6, which is 1. There's our 1 right there. But right now, we're going to keep it safe. We're going to say divide by 6. So if I divide by 6 at the top or at the bottom, divide by 6 at the top. So that means I'm going to do some little long division on the side. I'm going to do 7 divided by 6. So let's do this. Got to add a decimal, couple zeros, bring the decimal to the top. 6 goes into 7 once. 6 times 1, 6. Subtract. Got 1. Bring that 0 down. 6 goes into 10 once. 6 times 1, 6. Subtract, we get 4. Bring this 0 down. 6 goes into 40. Let's say that's going to be 6 times 6, 36. Subtract 4. Looks like it's going to repeat. So my answer here is 1.16 inches. And 1.16 inches of snow fell in 1 hour. Boom. Number 2. Done. 9 minutes and 43 seconds into the video. Awesome. Okay, here's example number 3. It's going to start getting progressively difficult. All right, the bookstore is selling a package of 4 books for $13. What is the cost of one book? Okay, 3 questions again. Here we go. What are the 2 units being compared? Pause. Think about it. Okay, if you said books and money, you are absolutely correct. So now we're going to think about number 2. How are we going to set up the table? What unit are we placing the 1 by for that unit rate? So pause. Let somebody set that up. Hopefully one of your 7th grade classmates got you set up like that. Bada boom, bada bing. Okay, so we got 4 books for $13. Where are we putting that 1 by? Well, since it's asking us for the cost of 1 book, I'm going to put the 1 by the books. 1 book. All right, so now I'm looking at the 2 things that I have. I got 4 books and I'm going down to 1 book. What can I do to 4 to get to 1? Let's divide by 4. And whatever I do to the top, do the same thing to the bottom. Now I need to know what 13 divided by 4 is. So let's go and just set that up. I'm going to add a decimal and a 0. See how much 1 0 is going to get me. Okay, so 4 not going into 1. 4 going into 13. Let's hit that with a 3 up there. 4 times 3, 12. Subtract, I get 1. Bring down my 0. Bring my decimal up. 4 goes into 10 twice. 4 times 2, 8. Subtract, get 2. I'll bring another 0. Bring it down. 4 goes into 20 5 times with nothing left over. All right, so each book, $3.25. These are proportional relationships because if I were to graph these like we've been doing, I would get a straight line and it would go through the origin because 0 books cost $0. So $3.25 per book. Yes, we're flowing through this. 1 take, like single ladies. Okay. 3 more problems. We're halfway there. Okay, Lucy. Now we got some fractions here. This is 7th grade here. Lucy is a dressmaker. She sews 4/7 of a dress in 3/4 of an hour. How many dresses does Lucy sew in an hour? Okay, so here's my questions again. What are the 2 units being compared? Pause. Think about it. If you said dresses and hours, you are the bomb. Okay, so I got 4/7 of a dress and 3/4 of an hour. All right, here we go. How are we going to set this table up? What unit are we placing the 1 by for the unit rate? So pause. Let one of your classmates set that up. If they started to set it up like this, they are absolutely right. So I've got 4/7 of a dress that Lucy's making in 3/4 of an hour. Challenge. Think about how many minutes that is, class. We'll talk about it, but let's keep going. Okay, so 4/7 of a dress in 3/4 of an hour. The question is asking me, how many dresses can Lucy sew in an hour? That's my unit, right? That's where my 1 is going to go. So I'm going to put 1 hour here. Now we got a fraction here. So I want you to think about what we were talking about in this problem here, where we flipped. So we said 5 times 1/5 is 5/5, which is 1. Well, 1/5 is what we call the multiplicative inverse of 5. All we did with this 1/5, we took it and flipped 5 to get 1/5. If you notice, 5 divided by 1 is 5. So 5 as a fraction is 5/1. Flip it, and we got 1/5. So now all I'm going to do here, same thinking, multiplicative inverse. Flip 3/4 to get to 1. So I'm going to multiply by 4/3. Do you need some proof that's 1? Sure, I'll give you some proof. 3/4 times 4/3 is 12/12. 1 whole. Okay? Whatever you do to the bottom, do it to the top. Do it to the top. So let's multiply by 4/3. Okay, let's do it to the side here. 4/7 times 4/3. 16/21. I don't think that can be simplified. So our answer is 16/21 of a dress. Lucy didn't even sew a whole dress in an hour. She's almost done though, because she's got 16/21 of it, and that is more than half of the dress. So 16/21 of a dress in 1 hour. Perfect. 2 more. Getting progressively more tougher. All right. A restaurant took 1/10 of an hour to use 1/6 of a package of napkins. This is somebody's job, keeping track of the napkins. At this rate, how long will it take the restaurant to use the entire package of napkins? Here's our questions. Again, what are the 2 units being compared? Let's look at the question. Pause it. Okay, if you said napkins and time or napkins and hours, you are absolutely correct. What are the 2 units that we're comparing? Napkins and hours. How are we going to set this table up? Pause. Let a classmate do that. Okay, if they set the problem up starting like this, they were absolutely right. 1/10 of an hour for 1/6 of a package of napkins. Where is your 1 going? Now, the question asked us, how long will it take the restaurant to use the entire package of napkins? That means 1 pack of napkins. So I'm going to put my 1 by the napkins. I'm just going to put 1 package there. Okay, so now I got the 2 packages of napkins at the bottom. How many 1/6 are in 1? Or what can I multiply by 1/6 to get to 1? If you said 6/1, you are right. Whatever you do to the bottom, do it to the top. Do it to the top. So times 6/1. Hey, do you need some proof that this equals 1? Let's do it. 1/6 times 6/1 equals 6/6, which is 1 whole, because 6 divided by 6 is 1. You don't have to do this though. This is optional. This is just for those people that say, well, why does that equal 1? That's why. Okay, so here we go. 1/10 times 6/1. Let's do that math. 1/10 times 6/1. 1 times 6, 6. 10 times 1, 10. Simplify. That's not in simplest form because 6 and 10 have a friend. That friend is 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 10 divided by 2 is 5. That's your answer. So it takes 3/5 of an hour to use 1 package of napkins. We are almost in the clear. I'm going to put 3/5. Let me do that in blue. I haven't used my blue in a while. 3/5 of an hour for 1 package of napkins. Yeah. Okay, last one. All right, Robert, he went walking with a Fitbit After 12 and a half minutes, he walked 775 steps. What was his average of steps per minute? Okay, last time you're going to hear these 3 questions again. What are the 2 units being compared? Pause. Talk about it. If you said minutes and steps, you are absolutely correct. All right, number 2. How are we going to set up the table? And what unit are we placing the 1 by? Have a friend set it up. Okay, if they began to set up like that, they are absolutely correct. Okay, where are we putting the 1 by? The question says average of steps per minute. So that means I'm looking for how many steps he can take in 1 minute. So I'm putting my 1 by the minutes. Okay, this one. It's got a lot of steps involved. Here we go. So this is a mixed number that needs to be converted into an improper fraction. So 12 and a half as an improper fraction, meaning I'm going to do 12 times 2 plus 1. 12 times 2 is 24 plus 1 is 25. So this is 25 over 2. So that means I need to figure out what can I multiply by 25 over 2 to get to 1. Use that multiplicative inverse. And let's do times 2 over 25. Let's do times 2 over 25. Oh, this is going to take some work. This is going to take some work. Let's do it on the back of this. Okay. So, I'm doing 775 over 1 times 2 over 25. Okay, I can do this 2 ways. I can cross cancel. I know 25 can go into this number here, but I think I'm just going to multiply straight across because I think that one might be easier. So let's figure out what 775 times 2 is. And notice how I'm doing this scratch work on the side because this requires some work from me. 5 times 2, 10. 7 times 2, 14 plus 1, 15. 7 times 2, 14 plus 1, 15. So 775 times 2, that's 1550. 1 times 25 gives me 25. Now I got to figure out how much 25 can go into 1550. So I'm doing this work again. At the bottom, I love to multiply. I love to divide. Okay, 25 can't go into 1. 0. 25 can't go into 15. 0. 25 can't go, it can go into 155. And I believe that's going to be a good 6 times because I'm thinking about quarters. And 6 quarters is $1.50. So 25 times 6, that's 150. Subtract, I get 5. Bring down my 0. 25 goes into 50 twice. Subtract, that's 0. Perfect. So my answer is 62. So he takes 62 steps a minute. 62 steps per minute. Oh, snap. Look what we got here. We got a challenge. We got a challenge. We got a challenge. We got a challenge. Okay, challenge alert. How many steps can Robert take in 1 hour at the previous rate? I want you to solve that. Peace out. It's Wednesday, early release. I will see you guys on Thursday. Have a blessed day. Thanks.